Well, good morning, everybody. It's time now for Local Community Scene, brought to you by Medica Pharmacy. And joining us in the studio today on this pre-recording is Alyson Schwartz from Medica Pharmacy. And good morning, Alyson. And I'm supposed to remind everybody about the Wine and Cheese Festival.
I have not forgotten. Yeah.
I didn't figure you had, but anyway, I did my duty.
Well, it's not too late to get your tickets, and it is more expensive if you buy it at the gate. And I know everybody's looking at the weather and wondering, but Matt Krupp swears that it's not going to storm until after the event is over. It does look like the storm should roll through afterwards. If it rains, if it's going to rain or be bad, we will move it inside to the Guthrie Opportunity Center. That's a call we won't make until tomorrow morning. Okay. So we do hope to have it on the Spalding Hall lawn. But, nobody ever said you couldn't stand in the rain and drink a little wine. It's going to be a great time. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, get your tickets. They're tax deductible, remember, to hold on to those tickets, receipts for next year and to send into your taxes. Mm-hmm. So it's a great time. We've got a lot of new wines. It's set up a little different this year, and it's a tropical theme. So there's going to be some nice cold oranges and pineapples to put in your sangria, and there's going to be some blueberries to put in your sparkling wine. So it's going to be a great time. So make sure you don't miss it. Benefits
the Rotary Club of Bardstown, who benefits our community through numerous contributions and things that they do. So that's Saturday, tomorrow, at the Spalding Hall lawn, and we'll keep you up to date here on WBRT. All right, today's subject line:
men and testosterone.
Uh-oh.
I know, it's such an exciting topic, and there's good and bad things about testosterone. A lot of men are put on testosterone, and we often see it most of the time after the age of 40, sometimes into their 50s, as men are a little tired, maybe they're a little depressed, they don't have the energy they used to have, and so they're getting put on testosterone. And typically you don't get put on testosterone unless you get some blood work that shows your testosterone levels are low, which is fine sometimes. Okay. But what we're seeing a lot of is that a lot of these guys get put on testosterone, and for the first month or two they feel great. Some don't ever feel better, but a lot of them feel really good in the beginning, and then after a little while they start to feel worse. So they go back in, and maybe their blood work's low again, and so they get a higher dose or a different dosage form. So you can get an injection, you can get a gel, you can get a cream. If you get it compounded, you can get sublingual drops or troches to put in your mouth. So you can get lots of ways to get it. But what we're starting to see is we're having some guys that just are not doing real well, so they're opting to do another form of testing, which is the same way that we test women's hormones at Medica Pharmacy, which is through saliva testing. So the studies over the years show that blood work is what's in your blood. It's not maybe actually what is working on your tissues, and so it's not always the most accurate form of hormone measurement. The saliva test, from every study that's been done on it, accurately depicts what levels are actually in your tissues doing what it should be doing. And we've tested just here in the last couple months 4 or 5 different men that are on testosterone supplementation to see is their testosterone low, because their blood work is still coming back saying they need more, and they can't understand why they're no longer feeling well and why the testosterone is not working for them. And what we're seeing is that their testosterone level is fine. Actually, a couple of them, their testosterone level is too high, but they're converting their testosterone to estrogen. And this is something that guys need to maybe request for their doctors to check also. I mean, men, you guys have the same hormones that women have, just in different levels. We all, men and women, have the same exact set of 6 hormones that we test for. They just are in different levels, whether you're a woman or a man. But anytime that you're under stress and you don't sleep, which we've talked about almost every radio show, I think, you convert certain hormones on down the path, and so they don't stop where they're supposed to stop. And especially if you're that guy who's got that little bit of a belly, maybe you have a big belly, but we'll say little belly just in case you just have a little one, and you can't get rid of that little belly. You're working out, you're jogging, you're doing sit-ups, and you think, I'm doing everything I can do. Why can't I lose my belly? Well, probably because you are converting your testosterone to estrogen. That happens in the abdominal fat. Okay, well, estrogen makes you get more abdominal fat, and abdominal fat makes more estrogen, and estrogen makes more fat, and it's a cycle that goes on.
Sounded like a circle there.
Yeah, it is, and it's not a good circle. And so especially once you start converting the testosterone to estrogen, you can really amplify up those receptors that do all that conversions. And so then you're in this cycle that you're not sure how to stop. And so you want to make sure, if you're on testosterone and it's not working for you, we need to make sure, are you sleeping well? How's your stress level? There's a couple other hormones we need to look at. because, high estrogen level can cause breast cancer in women. It also causes breast cancer in men. Okay, just because you're a man, you still have breasts. Totally different type of breasts, but still same tissue, same risks of cancer. You can also get prostate cancer from estrogens. And so this is something that we really need to pay attention to. If you're not feeling good, testosterone may not be what you need. Maybe it is, but we need to make sure that we're doing it correctly.
I have heard a lot of advertisements in larger markets, larger towns or cities. I've been in and listening to radio, watching TV. And of course, you see it on cable and here, but actually testosterone clinics, male clinics set up in places to just seem like push that. And I thought that's kind of interesting, and it's almost red flagged it to me.
It is, and there is so many people that want to feel better.
Yeah.
And so there's all kinds of money to be made at these clinics of, let's give you a big bunch of hormones that are going to make you feel really good in the beginning, but they may not make you feel good long term, and they can be dangerous long term. And so, hormones are like anything, if they're not enough, if you don't have enough of those hormones, you're not going to feel good. But if you have too much of those hormones, one, maybe you won't feel good, but two, it's very dangerous. And especially if you've noticed that you're on some hormones and you've gotten more irritable. We joke at the pharmacy that the high testosterone, high estrogen, that just makes for a mean person. You've heard of steroid rages. Well, testosterone's a steroid hormone. So if you've got too much testosterone and too much estrogen, both of which are androgenic growing things in your body, they both cause tension and anger and anxiety and irritability. And so we need to look at what's going on. And maybe it's, maybe your body makes plenty of testosterone, but due to the stress and the amplification of those certain receptors, you're just converting it to estrogen. So by giving yourself more testosterone, you're only adding fuel to the fire. So you've got to stop that transition of testosterone to estrogen as opposed to just throwing more testosterone onto the problem. So it's maybe not the answer. So, and testosterone supplements can be very expensive. The commercially available ones, there's a ton of money for those companies. Those things are so expensive. And I guess we laugh, we don't get it, because we can compound you a testosterone cream and it's only going to cost you $35 or $40, but you get the commercially available ones and they're anywhere from $400 on up at times. And so I don't.
That's why they're advertising.
There's a lot
clinics
of there is a lot of money to be made on those type of supplements, and they're really not that expensive to make. And when you go in certain dosage forms, if it's compounded, it's a lot easier to adjust your dose if you don't need that much. But you may need some supplements to help your body not convert testosterone to estrogen, and so it's something that we need to look at in our guys, I think.
Okay. When you say supplements, again, what are you referring to? Vitamins or other supplement, natural
supplements?
Both.
Not so much vitamins as actually testosterone and estrogen are extremely hard on the liver. And so once you start that process of conversion, the liver gets overloaded and those receptors get turned up. So we usually will do like some kind of detoxification to the liver to try to quiet the receptors down, get rid of the excesses of hormones, try to rebalance everything. So there's stuff like calcium D-glucarate, there's stuff like milk thistle and silibin. So it depends on each individual is very different as to what's going on with them. But we have used all of those. So it really depends on your levels, on to which one we'll go with and what other symptoms you're having. So I have a couple of guys we've put on the calcium D-glucarate, and then I have some that we've just put on the milk thistle. So it really depends. Everybody's different. And and they're all dosed differently. So it would depend on, can you take something 3 times a day, or do you need something you can take once a day, and what else is going on with your system.
Now, again, the saliva test is done right by you right there at Medica.
Right. You can take it home and do it, but we usually it only takes maybe 10 minutes for you to fill up that little bitty tube with lots of saliva, which it's a lot more of the saliva than people think. It's like 5 milliliters. It's a lot. But we have a UPS pickup every day, and it does get shipped to the lab through UPS. And so we usually just tell people, you can do it at home, but if you don't have easy access for UPS pickup, just bring it back to us, because it does stay in the freezer until UPS picks it up, and then we'll mail it to the lab. It takes about 2 weeks to get the results. Most insurances will not pay for it, and the lab will only bill Medicare directly. So if you're a Medicare patient and you want this done, we can bill Medicare, the lab will, but you have to have a prescription. You don't have to have a prescription for a saliva test. You can get one done because typically it's a cash item. And I think for the male test, it's I'm wanting to say it's $130 to test, and it tests 6 or 7 hormones down the cascade. So you get a big range of stuff as opposed to going and you may only pay a $25 copay for your blood work, but you're probably only getting your testosterone levels. So this gives you a lot more information. It gives you androstenedione, dihydrotestosterone, 2 of your estrogens, your DHEA. So it gets a big range of hormones in that picture. But you don't have to have a prescription for it. But, if it comes back that you needed testosterone, then definitely your doctor would have to write that. Right. Testosterone, people need to remember, is a controlled substance. Okay. So, that's why if you ever go to get a testosterone prescription filled, somebody's going to ask you for your driver's license or your social security number. And it is a controlled substance, not as strict as some of the, pain medicines out there, but it is considered a
But the results of this test are good information from not only you, the pharmacist, but also obviously for the personal physician for this person.
Exactly.
So
anytime somebody gets a saliva test with us, we forward that information on to the physician, so they'll have that record in there, so they can compare the saliva test results to all the notes they have and all the lab work they have on that patient as well. And the interesting thing about high testosterone and high estrogen is they create inflammation, and inflammation causes an increased production of cholesterol. And then you get put on cholesterol medicines, and cholesterol medicines make you insulin resistant and raise your blood sugar. And so if you can stop it at the inflammation point of hormones, and then you won't need the cholesterol medicine and the blood sugar medicine and everything else that follows along with it, then we'll be better off for it. So just be careful when you're asking your doctor to put you on testosterone, because it may be the farthest thing from what you need. Yeah.
And good, healthy living and eating is part of this equation, and can stop you from getting in that cycle.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I always tell people, why do you think chickens and cows grow up so quickly? Because we give them hormones. And when you give them hormones and you eat that meat, you're getting those hormones. And so, and it's just as simple as looking at the young girls these days and how much younger girls are going through puberty. And I'm assuming males too, but with girls it's clearly more noticeable. Because of the exterior, the growth of the breasts and different things that you notice right off. But we are seeing kids go through puberty younger and younger. And does it have something to do with the fact that we have all these estrogenic and testosterone-rich foods that we're eating because we're giving these steroid hormones to our food supply? And, of course, then, we talked about the fertilizers and the pesticides kind of have the same effect, just a little bit indirectly. And it is what we eat. And I had an interesting conversation with a girl that was trying to convince us that GMOs are very safe for us.
What are that?
GMOs are genetically modified organisms. So they're genetically changing our food supply so they can make more of it. And my biggest point of that is, first of all, they're not allowed in Europe for good reason, because they're not proven to be safe. And if bugs won't eat food, I'm not sure we should eat it either. And so they're making corn that bugs won't eat. So if a bug won't eat it because it'll kill them, then what's it going to do to us? And so I'm just not sure that GMOs are the way to go. Years ago they said margarine's the way to go. It's so much low cholesterol, it's better for you than butter. And then we found out that it's one molecule away from plastic, and it's way worse for us than butter ever dreamed to be. And butter actually has lots of health benefits. Margarine has 0. So I'm not convinced GMOs aren't the same thing. So I try to stay away from them anytime that I can. But it's hard because you don't always know it's a GMO product, and it's very. It used to be you said go to the grocery store, buy fresh foods, eat healthier, stay away from boxes and packages. And now you're saying, okay, well, you need to buy organic when you can and stay away from GMOs. But nobody tells you that those little cutie Clementine oranges are GMO. Yeah. So it's tough. Yeah. It's tough to make good decisions, and it's getting harder. And I don't have the answer. I don't know if anybody does.
You don't have the lab to do the testing of all the food.
I don't. Yeah. I don't. If you can grow some of your own food, you don't need a very big plot of land to grow food, but, grow it yourself, and don't use pesticides. Use hot sauce. Cayenne pepper is a great deterrent for bugs to not, and it'll rinse off. It won't make your food spicy. Trust me, I've done it. So, but you just want to watch what you're eating, because they're only going to add to this hormone imbalance that we're just starting to see all over the place.
Okay. Tell us about any new things or exciting things at Medical Pharmacy.
Well, we have the 5K run coming up in a couple of weeks that we've partnered with Flagey, or the Nelson County Community Clinic. Today, I think, it's the Flagey Golf Tournament. That's why I had Flagey on my brain. But the Nelson County Community 5K run for the health of it. Right. You can walk. You can, take a wheelchair and wheel around, help somebody wheel around. So it's a great fundraiser for our community clinic, and that's on June 15th.
Jan will be in next week on one of our radio shows, so to continue the discussion of that.
Yeah, so you don't have to be a runner. We had a group of us last year that walked the whole thing, and it was rainy and drizzly, and it was it was like it was very strangely chilly for June, kind of like this May was strangely chilly for May. But it was a cool morning last year, but it's a great cause, and so come out, get some exercise, bring your kids, and walk around for that one. Other than that, the big thing is get your tickets for the wine tasting. I think it's the best event in Bardstown, best social event. Even if it has to be moved to indoors, it's going to be a great time. We're hoping that it's going to be on the lawn, but come see us at the wine tasting on Saturday, 6:30.
Well, Alyson, thank you for taking time out of the schedule this week. I know it's been a short week with the holiday and then with lots of other things that have gone on in our community, and you're showing your support of our officer with your ribbon on this morning.
Yeah, that was horrible. Our office manager actually made these. She did, Penny Mattingly did a terrific job and had some help from some of the other staff. And so we've had lots of people ask about them. I don't know if we still have more. We've made a second batch, but basically a donation will get you one of these ribbons with Officer Ellis's badge on it, and then that money will go to the family. We're taking that, any donation money is going directly to the family. So it was a horrible tragedy, and yesterday was the most amazing sight I've ever seen, but I don't ever want to see it again.
Exactly. Thank you much for coming in today.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend, and see you at the wine tasting.
All right,
Okay.
see you there.
That's our show, For Your Health, a presentation of Medica Pharmacy, one day late than normally scheduled, again, so that we had the opportunity to broadcast the funeral service yesterday, and our thanks to Medica for allowing that to happen. Our show will also be seen this evening on BRTV. If you're watching it, you'll be seeing it as we're saying that. Have a good afternoon and a good weekend.